Let's talk about the issue of professional development as teachers. I know because most teachers work and live in a low income community, and so there may be these simply acceptable excuses that I don't have money to develop myself. Lucky enough, we are teachers in the 21st century. You see, one of the things that the 21st century does is that it takes away excuses. 21st century is embellished with the capacity to naturally and by default erase or remove excuses. So developing oneself as teachers really does not have to tie with money. I know you have to go for some courses, get a few material. Sometimes you need to spend a lot of money, especially if you want quality. You want to do something qualitative. You need to spend money. But we're saying that living in a low-income community or your salary is not even enough to eat, not to talk of developing. Okay, where eating is depending on the way your concept of eating. Okay, feeding your body and feeding your soul, feeding your mind. Okay, all it's eating consumption. So some spend all their money to feed their tummy. Some spend their money to also feed their mind, and that is one area you need to know. When you say money is for feeding, what are you feeding? What part of you, what part of your life are you feeding? Feeding your mind, feeding your body, or just whatever other aspect you want to feed? Okay, so what I'm saying in essence is this: professional development. I personally believe that as a mantra, I take it personally that professional development should be taken personal. If you are lucky to be in an organization or you are in a school or an educational institution where you are sponsored for training and to go on one course or the other, and they're lucky for you. But if you are not sponsored, we're talking about the organization sponsoring their teachers. That's another talk for another day. But I'm saying that teacher, you need to take your professional development personal. It's your personal responsibility. See, growth should be intentional. Growth should be something you take headlong. I want to develop myself. What's your growth plan as a teacher? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to achieve? What do you want to have in your portfolio as a teacher? So if you have a plan, definitely you know that to get from point A to point B absolutely require growth, and it requires development. It requires strategy. So you need to be able to learn this. You need to give yourself all out to growth. So talking about teachers in low income community, and I'm concerned about that because even though I work majorly in the private sector, in the private sector, in the education sector, in private sector, I still have passion to ensure that I do my best to spread best practices among teachers, especially teachers that work in public schools and low income private schools. Okay, how can I share best practices with them? Because ultimately it's all about our country. Okay, most teachers in Nigeria, a higher percentage of teachers in Nigeria work in the public sector. So the few tush teacher working in the private sector cannot be good representative of teachers in Nigeria. So we're talking about teachers in low income communities now. That's why the teaching profession is not valued. The teaching profession is not respected, because the values that teachers stand for seems to be eroded. Okay, an average teacher in Nigeria cannot fully represent what a teacher stands for. No professional development. You've been on one spot for years. You're not developing yourself. You're waiting for the government to send you to courses. Even some people are part of a group that organized a training recently on child trauma and mental health. Some teachers were sent, free of charge for training, and they were still complaining that they were being bothered. It's about mindset. But in this 21st century, one of the things I'm glad about 21st century is that 21st century eliminates excuses. Within the four walls of your room, on your mobile phone, you can do courses. In fact, I personally have done more courses, I've had more certificates online, okay, using my laptop and my mobile phone than I have in any face-to-face session, training session, or even our regular institution. Okay, so it's absolutely very important that we throw away excuses. Take professional development personal. A time is going to come that in most professions, people will become irrelevant. Your relevance meter, okay, will be determined by your level of professional development. If you don't develop yourself, you will soon become outdated. I tell you, whether you're in the private sector or in the public sector, time is going to catch up with you. You'll soon become outdated. So there is no substitute for professional development. There is no substitute for personal. Maybe I should stop calling it professional development, so that you don't think you are developing yourself for your school. I should just call it personal development. There is no substitute. No, there is no distinction. Professional development, personal development, because it's about the person that you profess to be. Okay, so if you are a sound individual, you be a sound teacher. It's just, there's no magic about that. So I'm motivating you, I'm advising you, go online. There are a lot of courses available. Go to Coursera. Okay, go to edX. Go so many institutions, universities now. Before they took back, stage, but now they are also been enrolling their courses on these platforms that Allison and the rest of them that people don't want to enroll courses on before. You now have courses from Harvard, courses from Cambridge University, courses from Oxford University. You could be in a village in Nigeria and you will still learn, from Cambridge. You still learn from Oxford. You still learn from brilliant world-class institutions all over the world in your area of expertise where you want to develop yourself. I personally, as a teacher, I took interest in educational technology. That's my area. I read wide a lot. I read a lot. I practice a lot. I enroll on courses. It's not about the certificate. I can't even count the number of certificates that I have. Yes, Cambridge Professional Development Certificate, online courses, and so many. I can't count the number. Okay, they are not for my employers. They are not for my institution. They are personally for me. I've gone for interviews that I can't take up 100% of the certificate I have. They'll be tired going through them. I just take a few.